welcome to Wake Up Africa on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. This is all about the awakening of us as an African people, everything to do with our awakening. And the purpose of this is that, we must acknowledge that we live in a mental, we live in a mental reality, which means our reality is mental first. It's created by the mind. It's created by our words, our thoughts, our ideas, and the voice, etc. We're told that in various scriptures, when science looks at it and how sound effects matter, etc., etc. And so we as an African people have been entrapped in someone else's narrative. And it's not just about being entrapped in someone else's story, but our story has been totally shredded, destroyed, turned back to front and upside down and just messed with to a point where it has removed us from ourselves, where we don't know ourselves. And one of the biggest lies we've been told, because what they came and what the missionary did is when they came to Africa, they made us believe that everything related to African spirituality was evil. So they literally beat our spiritually out of us and then replaced it with the new programming of, the Bible, religion, etc. And, it's now emerged that there was even a slave Bible, which teaches you about, don't hate on your enemies, don't seek vengeance, etc., stories for other days. But one of the greatest lies that has been told against us is the lie against reincarnation. And it is something that really is at the foundation of who we are as an African people, and it is at the foundation. Understanding reincarnation, understanding that we were here before and we shall come again, is absolutely crucial and critical to the season we're in and to what is happening. Now, we are often told that we are spiritual beings having a human life. We're having a human experience, and that this is literally like a spacesuit. It's a vehicle, it's our license to operate and partake of things here on earth. But we came from a spiritual kingdom, and when our time on earth is done, we return to that spiritual kingdom. Unless we've been deceived by lies of hell or by lies of heaven, where we can then, lose track and kind of get into other realities. Those are stories for other days. But what we must realize is we are the most ancient people of this earth. We are the firstborns. That's what they call the African nation. We are the firstborns. And this blood that is in my veins is borrowed from my mother, and she took it from her mother, and she took it from her mother. And it goes all the way down until the very first Mobi. And so that alone shows you that I am connected to the very first black woman and the very first black man. Their knowledge, their insight, their information, their experiences are all in my memory, in this blood, in these bones, in these, in this entire body. And a lot of our sayings go that, you have borrowed the smile of your grandmother, or you borrowed, the head of one ancestor. And we have to realize that this thing of reincarnation, and it's one of the things which people are like, oh no, so where do you think we came from? What do you think happens? Why do you have so much memory sometimes where it's like you've been there before, deja vu, or where you just have knowledge of doing a particular thing, even though you've never studied it, you've never learned it? Where has that knowledge come from? And these are the things we must discuss. These are the things you must discuss with yourself, not even we. You must discuss with yourself, because, while we're all collectively going for Africa's liberation, this war will be won individually. I stand with you, but you must fight your inner battle and win and take dominion of yourself by yourself. I can't do that for you. Your mama can't do that for you. Your wife can't do that for you. Your bae can't do that for you. No one. You have to do that for yourself. So the question of reincarnation is so critical. And if you look at the Agikoyo, right? Even the naming ceremony of a lot of Bantus, if you want to call them Hebrews, or a lot of these ancient African tribes, was like, I'm named Mobi. Now, my grandmother was named Mobi. her grandmother was named Mobi, you know, and so it goes on. And so we are named after, because they really believe that you come back. So there's a whole naming ceremony where the firstborn is named after the father or mother of the man, and etc., etc. So there's this whole naming ceremony, right, that goes all the way down. But it seems to suggest that you've been here before, and sometimes people will even delay naming because, you know, and the naming process is very, very deep, because they want to see, they're waiting to hear from the spiritual kingdom which ancestor is coming through. And I really hope I'm not losing you guys. I hope this is not too spooky and out there, because this is where we need to realize. Because if you realize you are a spiritual being having a physical experience, and if you realize you have been here before and you will come back again, maybe you've had 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, 1,000 lifetimes, you keep coming down to this physical experience. If you also become aware of the fact that every debt is paid here, right? We're told about karma and how every debt is paid right here on earth, and how debts are actually, you know, the scriptures also talk about how debt, you know, the sins of the father are visited on the children up to the 4th generation, etc. So you can see this cycle, and there's so much about this. There's so much research about how we're a soul, you know, many of us are soul families, and so you kind of come into you come into the earth with the same people over and over again, to settle your debts, to deal with certain situations, to learn, to experience, to explore, and to fulfill certain narratives within you, fulfill certain desires, preordained desires. So when you start to think about that you've been here before and you shall be here again, that will liberate you from the things that hold us so tight. And one of the greatest things that holds us in this kind of paralysis is fear. Because what I feel is that all the power, all the resources, everything is inside of you. Your destiny and everything you need to fulfill it is inside of you. The blueprint is inside. No one, no palm reader, no soothsayer can tell you your destiny. You have to have that inner conversation and kind of connect with yourself so deeply inside that it is revealed to you, and you start walking to it. All the provision, all the money, all the learning, all the people you need to put that together, all of that already exists inside of you. And so life is an unfolding. It is a coming out. You're not going anywhere, but you're bringing something out of yourself into this world. I really hope I'm not losing you guys. And so when you start to become aware you've been here before and you shall come again, it will give you the power. It will restore power back to you, because you will realize that the power that death has over you, the power of family members' deaths, and the fear of death, and this entity of fear that paralyzes you from standing up for the liberation of our people, and for the liberation of our minds, and for the liberations of Africans, will actually become a thing of the past, because you will start to you will just have to start to reorient. And so, all I would say is, this may have shaken a lot of you who have grown up very steeped in, certain doctrines that have told you, even thinking outside of what they programmed in your mind is illegal. But start asking that inner voice. Start asking that inner witness. Start having that conversation with yourself. Ask, is reincarnation real? Have you been here before? Pray about it. See what comes up in your prayers. Because these are the things that will liberate us. This is the transition we need to make. The liberation is not the African continent liberating itself from the foreign dominators. No. The liberation is me as a person liberating myself from the virus of fear, of being less than, of inferiority, of brokenness, and standing as a true African who is standing in this place for the millions that have had this blood and had these memories and shared their knowledge and memories to me, so that I could be here to do what I need to do for myself, for my family, for my community, and for humanity. It is time for us to get off the spiritual milk, family. It is time for us to rise mentally and spiritually to a deeper understanding of what this matrix is all about and who we really are. You are not just this person who's here for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. That's not your story. Your story doesn't begin and end on earth. You came from somewhere, and to that spiritual kingdom you shall return. But the thing I want you to understand, and I'm ending now, is that the spiritual kingdom that you came from can assist you to fulfill whatever destiny you have here on earth. And that's why you need to awaken to your spiritual heritage and to the fact that you've been here before and you shall return again. And the fact that there are others who are watching over you, your angels, your guardians, your ancestors, they are watching over you and they are ready to assist you. They are spiritual beings, but they can help you bend physical reality. I think I've gone too far. I'll leave it there. You were here before, you shall return again. Until next time. Mwah.